Today, we're diving into one of history's most fascinating cold cases. Seriously, it's a story packed with love, death, and a massive imperial scandal. But the really wild part? The consequences were so huge, they helped shatter an entire world order and even kicked off a world war. This is the story of the Mayerling Incident. So, right off the bat, here's the central question that people have been asking for over a century. What really happened to the heir of the Austro-Hungarian Empire and his young lover? Was it a tragic suicide pact, or was it a cold-blooded political assassination? The answer to that question would end up shaping the fate of millions. Okay, picture the scene. It's a remote imperial hunting lodge called Mayerling, and inside, the bodies of Crown Prince Rudolf and the young Baroness Mary Vetsera are discovered. The first official word that comes out of the palace? A heart attack. Yeah, right. That story completely falls apart almost immediately. The truth, or at least the story that was presented as the truth, was way more scandalous. But, even that official story was just full of holes. And it sparked this absolute firestorm of speculation and conspiracy theories that would burn for more than 125 years. So to really understand what happened here, we need to get to know the two people at the very heart of this tragedy. They came from completely different worlds, were thrown together by this intense passion, and ultimately pushed toward a really fatal end. I mean, this contrast really sets up the whole star-crossed lovers vibe perfectly, doesn't it? On one side, you have Crown Prince Rudolf. He's the heir to this huge, deeply conservative empire. But here's the thing. He had dangerously liberal ideas. He was anti-clerical, and he was secretly pushing for an alliance with France against Germany, which put him in direct conflict with his own father, the emperor. And to top it all off, he was stuck in a totally miserable marriage with absolutely no way out. Then, on the other side, you've got Mary. She's a young, totally infatuated teenager from a noble family who was about to be married off for political convenience. So you can imagine the imperial court is facing this impossible situation, this massive scandal. They had to get a story out there, and they settled on a narrative that, yeah, it was tragic, but at least it was contained. It was a story of desperate, forbidden love. The story that went out to the entire world was this. Rudolf had first shot his young mistress in the head, and then turned the gun on himself. The tragic angle was that they couldn't be together in life, so they chose to be together in death. And at first, the evidence really seemed to support this tragic story. Rudolf was trapped, Mary was about to be taken away from him, and they even left behind farewell letters. There was even a doctor who noted they've been acting pretty irrationally. So on the surface, it looked like a heartbreaking, almost open and shut case. But almost right away, the official story started to unravel. Too many things just didn't add up. And whispers of a political hit job, of a high-level cover-up, began to spread like wildfire all across Europe. This detail right here is one of the biggest red flags. I mean, think about it. A man who's planning his own death doesn't usually invite a buddy to go hunting with him the very next day. It was just a weird detail that didn't fit the picture of a man who'd lost all hope. And this is exactly why the murder theory was so powerful and so persistent. First off, you had claims coming from other royals, like Empress Zita, who flat out insisted it was a political assassination. Then you get this forensic bombshell. A later examination of Mary's remains found her skull hadn't been shot, it had been bludgeoned. And finally, there were just strange details from the crime scene itself, like Mary's body being found naked. It all pointed away from a romantic tragedy and towards something much, much darker. So, for generations, historians, royals, amateur detectives, everyone debated it. Was it a crime of passion, or was it a crime of politics? The truth seemed like it was just buried forever, until a shocking discovery in the 21st century changed absolutely everything. Just let that number sink in. For 126 years, the Mayerling Incident remained one of history's greatest unsolved cases, a total mystery locked in time. And then, in a place nobody ever thought to look, a safe deposit box that hadn't been opened in decades, well, it turned out to hold the key. It was full of personal documents, including something that experts thought had been lost to history. These were Mary Vetsera's original, authenticated farewell letters. In her own handwriting, she confirmed the official story. This discovery was the most definitive piece of evidence anyone had ever found, proving that the tragic events at Mayerling were, in fact, a suicide pact. After more than a century of speculation, her own words finally closed the case. Okay, but here's the thing. Solving the how of their deaths is really only half the story. The true world-altering significance of Mayerling isn't just about how they died, it's about what happened because they died. Their personal tragedy set off this unbelievable chain reaction. Let me just walk you through this because it's absolutely mind-blowing. With Rudolf gone, the line to the throne had to be redrawn. It eventually passed to his cousin, Archduke Franz Ferdinand. And it was Franz Ferdinand, the man who only became the heir because of the Mayerling Incident, whose assassination in Sarajevo in 1914 became the single trigger for the First World War, a war that destroyed 4 empires, including their own. And that right there is the staggering legacy of Mayerling. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? If Rudolf and Mary had somehow found a way to live, could the entire course of modern history and the lives of millions of people have been completely different?